Hello. I want to speak about, is it expensive to live in Japan? Especially right now, this trend. Japan is a very cheap country because of the weak yen. Yeah, if you earn in dollars or euros, it's very cheap to live in Japan. But let's look at the real numbers. I'm going to speak about only my experience, only my payments. I'm the language teacher. I teach Japanese to foreigners. I pay all taxes in Japan, so I live the Japanese decent life. So I'm going to speak about how it works for Japanese people. Let's go to real numbers. I recently moved to a new house, and this house costs 120,000 yen, 25,000 yen per month. Not cheap, right? Especially if you earn in yen. This is only rent. Of course, you have to pay your utilities. 25,000 yen per month. Then you have to buy some food. Well, 50,000 yen, I think. You think, yeah, that's kind of okay. If we count together, you can manage everything. And then it comes to taxes. So if you move to Japan, you have to pay tax, of course. And there are some interesting systems about taxation in Japan. So everyone knows about this progressive system that the more you earn, the more you pay. It's okay. We all know about this. We all live with this. We got used to that. Well, let's speak about taxes, and it doesn't matter how much you earn, you just have to pay them. The first tax you have to pay is the taxation of resident area. So my previous apartment was in Setagaya, which is quite expensive. Well, my previous apartment was the same amount of money, like the renting was the same, the utilities was the same, and food was the same. And this resident tax per year, you just for living in Setagaya, doesn't matter how you save, doesn't matter how you spend, they don't give a shit about it. They want you to pay $205,000 per year just because you live in this area. Of course, they keep this area clean, free toilets with the toilet paper, clean streets. Each area has its own taxation system. So the guy is quite expensive. So if you work for a Japanese company and you just graduated and you just started working, or you came to Japan and again, when you come to Japan, well, I'm not speaking about IT, maybe you can do that better, but if you're just a language teacher, well, it's going to be expensive because your salary is going to be just like, I don't know, 200,000 yen per month. Where you have to get your money, they don't give a shit. Also, in 2025 is 17,500, if I'm not mistaken, per month. Per year, it's going to be $1,600. Again, you have to pay it. It doesn't matter if you work or don't work, you have to pay it. The good thing about that, when you are the foreigner and you go out from the country, you move to another country, you can apply for receiving that money back. But if you want to live in Japan and if you are Japanese, you can say bye-bye to this money. In total, just the taxation, not about your taxation for the earnings, just the taxation just because you live there, and the pension that they pay right now to old generation, 4,600, quite expensive. And then of course you have to pay the tax for your earnings. Well, as a progressive system, it's going to be different. They have the minimum wage that you don't pay tax. I do love the system because you have this minimum and they count from starting from this minimum, so it's kind of reasonable. For example, in my situation, my taxation in general was around 7,000, so it's quite a lot. And again, Japan doesn't help you to pay your rent, that doesn't help you to buy some food. And right now in the system, like especially if you receive in yen, everything's getting expensive, food is getting expensive, electricity bills are getting expensive, pension is growing every year. Last year it was 16,000 per month, this year it's already 17,000 per month. Yeah, you may think like 1,000 yen is not a big deal, but let's count this in together. How can you be sure that they are not going to grow up next year and the next year and the next year? But salaries? No, they don't. That's why Japanese people right now are very poor. And also the logic of Japanese people, it's kind of funny because, like, for your understanding, I have a few laptops. One of the laptop is quite old, MacBook from 2013 or 2014. I know that you may think like, why didn't get rid of that? I used it, but now I don't want to use it. I wanted to sell it. You know how much they told me? 100 yen. It's less than $1. Can you imagine, like MacBook lasts for $1? And when I came to the shop, there were old MacBooks, old laptops, and they get from you for 100 yen, but they sell it for 30,000 yen or 45,000 yen. Yeah, it's still cheap, but the difference. Same goes about cars. Well, you have taxation when you have a car. The older your car, the more tax you have to pay per year just because you have this car. So right now my boyfriend has a Jeep. We recently spoke with him, like, is he going to sell this car and change it to the new car? And he told me that he cannot sell it because it's too old. It's very expensive to own it because of this taxation system. So even though he bought it, even though he used it, like, it's not like in Europe when you just resell your car and you can have some money back, but not in Japan. Not in Japan. I still don't really understand how he's going to get rid of this car. Maybe he even has to pay for getting rid of this car. But anyway, so if we speak about, is it cheap to live in Japan? Well, if you receive your income from American company, from European company with a decent salary, yeah, maybe it's cheap to live in Japan. But don't forget about taxation. Even though it's cheap as we speak about day-to-day life, it's not cheap if we speak about taxation. It's not cheap if you try to live the decent life, not like a traveler who comes for a few months, or a traveler who wants to live like half a year in Japan, half a year in the different country. Yeah, of course you can give it as well, but anyway, you still have to pay that. Hope it was useful. See you next video.